Hello and welcome everyone for the Integrated Life Show every Tuesday at 9 p.m. This is your host Sagar Amlani and Bharti Nayak welcoming you again. Well, today the show is all about you and your integrated life. Over to you, Bharti.
Yes, everyone, this is Tuesday, 9 p.m., and we are back with another episode of The Integrated Life. The Integrated Life Show. This is an extraordinary talk show which integrates all the elements of life to enjoy a sense of fulfillment, happiness, and gratitude. And to lead an integrated life, you need to bring together these major elements of your life, which is your personal and professional. That's your work, family, community, yourself, and friends. And integrating the work and the personal life, yes, it is the most difficult issues that leaders face. And hence, we are here with this talk show, which will tell about the integrated life show. And we are going to take this forward with 26 ways to build a productive mindset and have a proactive approach. And we
Bharti,
already finished. Oh, yes,
Bharti,
tell me.
did you notice something?
What? What did I
The
notice?
show and the time and everything is so integrated that we are also listening a prayer, an azan, not azan, it's in the morning, but a prayer that's coming up. So this is really an integrated life show where the work, life, God, spirituality, everything's combined. Isn't it amazing?
Yes, it is amazing, and it is a blessing for all of us to be in this entire zone, in this entire environment where we both are here to share our insights, share our experiences with each one of you who have joined this talk show. So, last episode, we spoke about the first ways, I would say the first principle out of 26, that was attention to detail. And what an amazing, amazing response we got. For the downloads that we have it on the website, which is www.theintegratedlife.co.in. There were close to 15 people who downloaded the PDF. They gave us their responses, their questions. They wrote us back about how they are managing their life, how they really want to integrate these elements, and that was really really exciting for both of us. So thank you so much for watching this live show and also downloading these beautiful, amazing PDFs that we are building up every week for you all. We are putting a lot of efforts to really really integrate every elements that we understand, and we are putting it forward. So thank you so much for doing that. Yes, Sagar.
That's absolutely awesome. The reviews and people have actually, come back and told me a few things about the element of butter that you talked about and the baking and the life and the cake. And people really were connecting those to their daily life. They also asked me that how is that the show is so smooth? How is that the communication is so smooth? Are you guys actually rehearsing, practicing everything? And the answer was very simple. I just told them the thoughts are integrated to a level where synergy just happens. And that's the beauty about integrated life. And that's the beauty basically when two people who are very, very like minded, one talking about productive mindset, which is incomplete without proactive approach, and one talking about a proactive approach, which is incomplete without a productive mindset, meet together, the thing has to be awesome, isn't it? So, yeah, that is what we
And
had.
correct. And here is what I'm going to tell all of you. And I'm not going to keep it to myself or with Sagar anymore. So we have 26 ways that we are going to cover. So including the first introduction the first introduction talk show that we had. So that was 27, and the 28th episode, the last episode that we will have for the series, is the concluding one. And in that conclusion, we are going to share how did we how did we plan and how did we executed this entire talk show. So I'm not keeping it with myself, Saga. You told me not to share, but I'm sharing it. So the last episode is going to be about how did we do all of this such smooth and effective way, without any stress, without any burnout. And yes, that's that's what today's episode is going to focus, is going to highlight about, which is burnout. And
Yeah.
as professionals, as entrepreneurs, we really many a times face this state of burnout. And not many people are even aware that they are going through this phase, or they are having this kind of pattern that they have unknowingly developed. They're not even aware. So if I have to tell you what burnout is, burnout is a state of physical or emotional exhaustion when you are completely exhausted, or when you are completely in the reactive stage of your life, where as the life hit gives you situations, challenges, any kind of situations, you just react to it. You just go with the flow. I've heard many people saying that I just go with the flow as it comes. I don't plan my day. I just do things as it happens. Now, when you are doing this, you go to a stage of burnout where you are stressed out, where you feel that fatigue, even though physically you may not feel the fatigue, but the mental exhaustion, it's like somebody has sucked the energy out of you, so you have drained yourself. That's the stage of burnout. And that is what we are going to talk about today. Yes, Sagar, over to you.
Lovely. So while we talk about that, does people know that 59% of the millennials, as we speak, are already facing burnout? 64 people, 64 percentage of Gen Z is already facing burnout, and 1 out of 3 Indian working professional is facing burnout. Now, these numbers are in relation to India, but Russia, China, Japan, US, UK, Australia are not left behind. Right from 33% of Japan, reading to 51% in Germany to 57% in US, are all facing burnout. Now, as you rightly said, what is burnout? Burnout basically is a state when you're emotionally, physically, mentally drained due to exhaustive, excessive, and prolonged stress. Now, mind you, that this stress is only work related. I'm not talking about financial stress. I'm not talking about personal stress. I'm not talking about family stress or any other stress. This is purely work related stress. Now, what happens during this burnout? It reduces your productivity, it reduces your thinking ability, the conductive or conjunctive mindset, it reduces that totally. Now, that means you are actually non productive. And what happens because of that? The job that we wanted all the while, the work that we wanted to do all the while, starts feeling with no purpose. We start feeling lost. We start feeling, why are we doing this? And that is the point which makes me say to everyone who's listening, we've been tuned to say never. Hustle, keep hustling. You should always have a side hustle. You should always have multiple things going on. Well, my friend, you are leading to the stain of burnout. That was a Western theory of hustling, running around, and they are already facing burnout. They're moving out of it. Let's not get into the same trap of having hustles. Now, you would say, hey, if I don't have an hustle, I will not make enough money. Well, my friend, be productive and you will make more money than you ever imagined. Be proactive and you'll make more money than you can ever imagine. And what is the point of having that money when you go under depression? You become cynical, you don't enjoy life, you don't see happiness around, and you're always grumpy all the while. What's the point of having all that? And that is where we bring to you the element of how to save yourself from burnout and build an integrated life. Over to you, Bharti.
Very well, Sagar. Absolutely right. What you're saying, that to if you want to really make money, if you really want to enjoy your life, have that fulfillment in your life, have that happiness in your life, you don't really need to work so many hours. You don't have to stress out yourself. I have been hearing people saying that multitasking is good, multitasker, you be that multitasker, or you do so many things at a time, but absolutely no. And What you need, as what rightly Sagar mentioned, is your productive mindset. If you have that productive mindset, you can really, really focus and make money or do your best work in the small, minimal amount of time. You don't need a lot of time to do it. And that is what makes you productive. And for that, you really need to be in that proactive approach, to be in that proactive ways of how to do it. Because I have been hearing people say that when you don't plan your day, when you don't decide on at least three tasks that I want to complete, when you don't think through that what am I going to do today, if I want to grow or if I want to progress in life, when you just keep on saying yes to everything and everyone that comes in your way. I mean, is that the best way to do it? Are you a people pleaser? Do you really want to say yes and then get that burdened for everything? Or when you don't have that proactive approach, the productive mindset to accomplish your goals, to accomplish your task, these things will keep on happening. You will be reacting to the situation all the time. And sometimes you will feel that, oh, I'm very busy all the day. But is that really be productive? I don't think so. You might be busy, you might be occupied with work, you may seem that I did a lot of work, but at the end, when you look at it, you may not be as productive as you really want to be. And that's what the burnout stage is all about. When you, what Sagar really mentioned was the hustle and the bustle. That's not what integrated life is. You can't live that hustle life from 20s to 40s, and then when your everything is done, you're physically drained, everything is like to the zero. Now you say that, okay, now I want to enjoy my life, but what's the fun in that? If your physical body has captured so many illnesses, those kind of health issues, what's the fun in doing that? When your relationship is distorted, what's the fun in that? When you really have drained out so much that your passion, you're missing the passion, and you say, oh, I wish I would have done that, I wish I could have finished that part. That's no fun part in it. So if you really want to enjoy your life, have the fun element in your life, you need to really integrate these elements. You really need to look at each element and how would you put it together so that you have that proactive approach and the mindset that I want to be productive. And that will really, trust me, I have seen Sagar working, and the way his productive mindset works, the way he looks at the time, the way he looks at the opportunity, the way he looks at every action or every detailed work that he does, you won't feel or you won't see him getting drained out or getting burnout at all. He's always enjoying his life. He's always happy go and having that nice. Anytime I send him a message and say, Sagar, I want to talk. Oh, yes, let's talk. So he's always there. And I wonder, isn't he busy? Isn't he having any meetings? Where are those working hours? Never ever I've heard him saying that. It's only because the kind of approach that has been adapted is that productive mindset, is that proactive ways of how to build that integrated life. And that's what it matters. And that's why this whole episode is all about today. Yes, Sagar.
Brilliant, absolutely bang on. And thank you, kudos. I always love appreciation. And one thing, appreciation reduces burnout. So thank you, you helped me reduce my burnout by appreciating me on the show. So that's one way to understand what leads us to burnout. So there are several ways that leads us to burnout. Number one, lack of appreciation. Number two, the task that we are working on becomes repetitive, and we feel we are doing a monotonous job, not getting enough sleep. Remember our boss calling and saying, hey, do you mind working on the weekend? And we say, yes, boss. Hey, do you mind taking this project and meeting this client just after the office? Yes, boss. Hey, I've got this project and I want to finish this and submit it by tomorrow morning. Can we sit after office hours? Yes, boss. All that leads to burnout. Most ever, we have forgotten socializing, and socializing only is either drinking, dancing, and going into some kind of alcohol, some kind of addiction. But do you know that is the sign of burnout? When you're seeking comfort in drugs, in food, in alcohol, and you're socializing only on those causes, my friend, that causes burnout. So now that we know that these are the causes, there's even number one: taking more responsibilities. Saying yes to everything leads to burnout, right? So, are you actually thinking of quitting your job right now? Are you thinking you're not good enough? Are you thinking that, no, this is not what I am supposed to do? Are you thinking, what's the life purpose? What is the purpose of my life? If you're thinking all this, if you're finding and seeking comfort in food, in drugs, or in discourse, or just going out with friend for alcohol, that's a sign of burnout. And burnout can stay for the life, and to recover from burnout it takes as good as 5 years. I read somewhere from a doctor. He said, let me read it out. He said burnout affects not only your physical body, your physical health, but it also affects the prefrontal cortex. Now, that part of the mind is the mind that pays attention to detail. Remember episode number one, where we were talking about focus, pay attention to detail. Now, what happens when you lose that brain part, which is prefrontal cortex? You start missing out on things, you start making mistakes, you start missing out things, you don't remember things, you become irritated, you become cynical. These are the symptoms, and these are the indicators that you're facing burnout. So, for just to recollect and to just give you a glimpse again: lack of appreciation, lack of remuneration or accounting, excessive number of responsibilities, saying yes, not enough sleep, not enough socialization, working in an unorganized office where there are too many projects, too many random discussions, very, very high pressure, very, very high pressure driven environment, and working on repetitive tasks, that leads to burnout. So, if you are facing any of these, this is the episode for you. In this episode, we are also going to cover what can you do to come out of burnout. We will also cover what can you do if you're the HR of the company, if you're the leader, if you're the employer, or if you're the manager. What can you do? Because remember, a burnt out employee is 2.3 times more susceptible to find a new job. And that could be one of your best player, because we all know the best players are loaded the most. Isn't that, Bharti?
Yes, absolutely, Sagar. And I remember one of the client that came to me, and she really spoke about the kind of stress that she's going through. So the conversation started by understanding what is leading her stress and why she feels so stressed out. Is it only personal relationship that she's facing, or is it something more? And the more deeper that we started digging, we realized that it is the nature of the work that she's doing. The nature of the work was so monotonous that she said that I get bored and it's the same thing. Even if I close my eyes, I can simply do it. And rest of the time it is so monotonous that there's nothing newness, no challenge, nothing to tease me, nothing where I can put my brain and it starts working. And that was leading her, and because it was so monotonous, she would keep on making sometimes mistakes because she thought that, oh, it's the same thing the next day, it's the same thing, the report that I need to make. And she would sometimes make mistakes, the silly mistakes, and the manager will start scolding her, and she would again go back to her place. And it started happening, and she was not able to find out that I'm putting so much of efforts, I'm really working hard, there's so many hours that I'm putting, and I'm doing this job since so many years, but still why I'm making those mistakes. But it was not about the time or the efforts that she was putting, it was more about the nature of the work that was creating a problem. And the moment she shared the insights, she shared some of our brief conversation with our manager, with the HR, openly, and saying that this is what I'm facing. Is there a way that you can help me? A little bit of change in my work profile, a little bit of change in my project or a task or a work, that will help me to really rejuvenate and really put my more, it's an excitement that you have when you come to the workplace. And the moment they did that, the new challenge, the newness that came with her work, it not only helped her at the workplace, but it also started impacting her relationship at the personal life, in her family. She started getting those newness in her relationship. She started looking forward to the day. She started looking forward to her life. And even she said, my relationship with my spouse, with my family members, I don't know, but I just feel happy about it. And when I go and they feel they see the happiness in me, and they also get excited. They also feel the same happiness. And she said, I didn't ever realize that how this is affecting me at a deeper level. And this is where it comes to a vicious cycle. Now, just think about it. You're working that way, and you don't even realize that you are burning out, you are stressed out with your work. And because you are stressed, as what Saga mentioned, because you are stressed, you want to be stress free. And what is the immediate or the usually the common ways that people do? They'll go towards addiction. They go towards something that will just help them get stress free. It could be smoking, it could be alcohol, it could be partying late, it could be just moving around, or just being on social media. It could be any kind of addiction that will make you stress free. But that is temporary, because why? Once you are done with this, you are back to your workplace with the same routine, same environment. Nothing changes. So the pattern hasn't changed. And you're just moving in that vicious cycle again and again, doing the same thing, and the time just passes by. The life moves on, you keep on growing physically, mentally, you are not growing. Emotionally, you are burning out yourself. Now, is that the life that you want? Is that something that you're really looking forward to? We don't think so. So, if you really want that integrated life approach, look at what is happening with you. Find out what are the sources that is bothering you and that is leading to the burnout. As what Saga mentioned, these are some of the things that may lead to the burnout. Maybe lack of appreciation is burning you out. You're putting efforts, but there's nobody to appreciate you. Maybe you are working too many things at a time, so your hands are completely full, and plus you are overloading yourself. What is it that is leading you to burnout? That's what's a question you need to think about it. Yes, Sagar.
Yep, that's bang on. So while you question yourself, while you think about it, we don't want you to burn out. So I will share the physical, emotional signs and symptoms that you can tick in the box and think about that, hey, are these the same symptoms that I'm having, because of which I'm facing burnout? If you say yes, and if those symptoms are the right ones, then that's exactly what you need to do. So let's talk about the physical symptoms. First one, constant tiredness. Now that does not mean that you're like, oh, I'm tired. No, it's tiredness to do anything. It's tiredness to even approach, wake up, go to office, meet client, or even sit in the car, drive, anything that you want to do, and you're just tired or you're not excited about, or even sometimes exhausted throughout the day. If that's the sign, that's number one. Second, your immunity has decreased. You're frequently falling sick, you're frequently falling ill, your immunity has decreased. That's a sign of your body that something's wrong. You started feeling muscle pain, you've started feeling body pain, you've started feeling, you know, a similar kind of a headache, or a small kind of an headache that comes in. Or if your appetite has been reduced, or your sleeping patterns are changed, your sleeping patterns have become erratic. Now these are all physical indications of burnout. Now of course these indications could be leading to something else, but sure short, these are also related to burnout. Now, when it comes to emotional feelings or emotional signs and symptoms, sometimes it's about feeling of doubt. Why am I doing this work? What is the purpose of me doing this work? Am I good to do this job? Now, that's the job that you've been wanting for. That's the job. Remember the first day of the office and you are so excited to get in the job? The same job makes you think, Am I in the right place? Am I wanted? Am I appreciated? Self doubtness. Second is feeling of helplessness, feeling of being defeated, feeling of not being able to achieve. It's not about you. It's about multiple projects that you've taken, multiple targets that you have, and that makes you feel that. So that's one. Third is about detachment. You want to be lonely, you want to sit alone, you want to just run away from everyone. You just want to go on a solo vacation. Why would you go on a solo vacation? Why are you trying to detach yourself from everyone? You become pessimistic for everything. You start having a cynical approach for every single thing. If someone is saying good, you don't see the good. You try to find, why is he or she saying that to me? You start looking at cynical approach for every single thing. And while we talk about this, the behavioral signs will be, you will start abandoning responsibilities. You will stop replying, you will stop talking to people, you will stop replying on WhatsApp. You might come out of various groups. Of course, you might come out as a choice, but sometimes you come out of groups, you just don't feel like connecting with people. And you stop responding to emails of your teams, your manager, just because you just want to stay away, isolating yourself. As I said, you want to go out. Or the most important thing, you start seeking comfort in watching Insta reels, Facebook reels, pornography. Food indulges you, even though when you're not hungry, you just want to go out for food. Of course, there are foodies, and I'm a big foodie, but I don't go out for food just to, put out my burnout. Some people start finding that in alcohol. They get into drugs, they get into alcohol, they get into that. Last but not the least, you're always constantly venting out your vengeance, your annoyance on others and everybody around you. And what you're doing in that, you're actually making the atmosphere around you even more stressed. And that leads to burnout. So these are the symptoms. If you're facing any of these symptoms, though we are not doctors, but we've done our research, we've read articles, we've talked to a few people, and I've had more than 18-20 interviews and 142 articles before I wrote all these content in my book, The Key, which was just launched and is also now Amazon India #1 bestseller. That book indicates and shares all these things. So these are the symptoms of burnout. If you're having any one of those, please, please, please take care of yourself. Talk to your team, talk to your manager. While I'm also sharing this link, which can help you to understand and relieve yourself of that burnout. Maybe you can go on to this link, just click on the link, download the checklist, try to do some exercises. If that doesn't work out, Bharti and Sagar are right just a click away. Join us, connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and we will be more than happy to listen to you and help you to come out of that burnout stage. What do you have to say, Bharti?
Absolutely, Sagar. What you mentioned about these symptoms, which are behavioral symptoms, emotional symptoms, the physical symptoms, it also reminds me of the recent episode, or I would say the recent situation that happened. And we were really figuring it out that what is happening, why this situation. So I'm talking about my daughter when she's working and also studying at the same time, and she was really constantly feeling that why is it her performance has gone down, or why is it that she's not able to focus, why is it that she's really struggling to also complete her assignments, give it to the college, the professors, and at the same time also give her best to the workplace, and really wants to be best chef there that she's working there, and also want to be a good team player, want to be a good colleague to all of the amazing people that she's working with. So for constantly 1 or 2 weeks, she was talking to us and sharing her, venting out sometimes and getting emotional. And I was looking at those symptoms and I was saying, okay, there's something that is bothering, there's something. So she was going to the phase of that burnout, and we could see that, we could really feel that she's going through that stage. And slowly and gradually we kept on giving her the kind of support, the help that she could need. She figured out that it was off lately, figured out that it was because of the decrease in the immunity. the deficiency, the B complex, the B12 deficiency that would have come back because she went through the COVID in December. Now, this is what the important part we want to share here is many of us, unfortunately, would have gone through this, uh, this bad COVID symptoms or would have gone through this COVID disease, and that really would have broken the immunity system deep down. We would really want you to carefully look at it and see if that is the one of the possibility why the physical symptoms are being seen, and you really want to put your efforts to build up that stamina, build up that immunity again, and not let yourself to that burnout stage, because once you are completely stressed out, you only look at those temporary outlets, what Saga mentioned. You look at those temporary ways to just come out of it, but eventually you are back to the square one. You're back to the same environment, and that's not what it is. Now, you may ask us this question that uh, we do face many times contingency at work, and hence we need to pick up those calls, those unexpected calls, sometimes unexpected unavoidable meetings, sometimes emergency or critical crucial work that comes in our way. That could be ad hoc work that comes in a day. But the question here is, if you are reacting to the situations all the time, it may seem to be busy, it may not be productive. And the question here is, what is the ratio? What is the proportion of this kind of ad hoc work that comes to you daily, and the plan and the proactive ways that you have adapted that will lead you to be productive? What is that ratio? If the ratio is more than 25% of the day, that means you need to reflect upon your ways of doing things. Because we understand as a professional, when you are at a workplace, you might come across certain things and you may have to react to it, you may have to face those situations. But if that percentage is very high, that means you are just keeping yourself busy. That means you're just reacting to it. That only means that you are somehow managing your stuff to make it happen. It's not productive at all. It's not the mindset that you may want to really inculcate, the pattern that you want to really develop. That will really make your life in the long run. We are not here for the short gains, we are here for the long run. And it's not only about your workplace, it's about your integrated life that we're talking here, because one area will definitely affect or impact the other areas. So if you're focusing on one area and you're managing the elements of those areas well, you will be able to influence the other areas and be more happier there. And hence the burnout stage will not happen. That point will not come in your life because you are managing that proactively. Yes, Sagar.
So the question for everyone is, are you busy or are you productive? Now, I have a statistics to share. So we did an interview with maybe 100 plus people, if I'm right, 102 people, and we tried and find out that what is a scale where they feel that they are good achievers. And the analysis came out that more than 90% indicated their achievement related to what they were trying to achieve and what they've achieved, which could be just 60% of their capacity, which could be 50% of their real capacity, which means the analysis gave us an insight that we as humans, though we achieve something and we constantly achieve that because we are in that stage of burnout or we are in that stage, we think that is the maximum that I can do, that is the maximum productivity that I can achieve. And that is the barrier that you can break if you can actually download the check sheet that we have given. You can take that check sheet, review that check sheet, and find out what kind of things that you need to reflect on, what kind of things that you need to see on. And you might find out, hey, you were just 60% productive, but you were busy the 100% of the day, which means, are you busy or are you actually productive? Now, my question here comes to the HR, to the employees, the team member, and even the employer. What would you do to ensure that your team does not burn out? What can you do to identify the symptoms of burnout, because 53%, mind it, 53% of the employers don't even know how to detect burnout, and 87% of HR professionals have voted saying they don't know how to come out of burnout, because they have sessions for leadership, they have sessions for happiness, they have sessions for measuring happiness, team building, leadership. Do you ever they have sessions even for stress management. Do you even care to have a session to identify burnout? Do you even care to find out if your employees are overburdened? The answer comes no. Because working hours, oh, it's flexi working hours. You can work anytime and anywhere. Then what's the point? Because when you have flexi hours, the manager can call you at 8 o'clock in the night, 9 o'clock in the night. And I've seen friends who are working in really big four companies, and big companies and MNCs. They come home, they have dinner quickly, and they sit to make a report. They sit with their laptops to make a PPT to be submitted to their boss so that they can deliver it tomorrow morning. I mean, you're a professional. You're a CA. You've done very good degrees. You've got so much of experience. And what are you slogging for? What are you trying to achieve? So the answer comes, no, 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 this is just first 5 years that I have to do it and have to prove myself. Well, my friend, you are entering a trap, because that 5 years never ends, because the first 5 years, you want to prove yourself. The next 5 years, you want to grow yourself. The next 5 years, you want to get into the leadership position. And the next 5 years, you want to become a partner, a director, a leader. 20 years gone. And that's when they realize, oh my God, I've not been able to give time to my family. Oh my God, I've not been able to be social. Oh my God, there's that. Well, the time is now. Better late than never. So it's okay. You've missed it. As on today, from this episode, whoever is your friend, whoever is your colleague who is investing his time, his office hours, and also his family time and his family hours to just do the work, share them this episode. You can actually take that link and give it to them. For HRs and employers, please ensure that you start observing your team. Is your team irritated? Is your team avoiding things? Is your team taking sick leaves more? Is your team not performing better? Are you having more iterations? Are you having more people leaving your organization? Are you having the high performers reducing their performance? Is there no gratitude left? Is there no happiness in the team? Well, all these are indications that you need to organize a session for burnout, or you need to organize an event or a session for them to understand if they have a burnout. And where there are so many ways where you can avoid burnout, start giving them appreciations. Talk to them, reframe their priorities, check if they are not overloaded with multiple projects, check if they are not burdened by the client with multiple redos, rechecks, reworks, or changes in the assignment. Start becoming realistic. You as a leader, you as a manager wants to get the work done. Isn't the other person, the employee, a human being? Don't you have empathy against them? Or it is only just the targets? Are we behaving similar to the media people who go to any level for their TRP? No. We are working with humans. Productivity is for robots. Productive mindset is for humans. Let's organize ourselves and understand, where are we going? Where are we leading? What are we trying to achieve? What targets are we trying to achieve? At the cost of family, health, friends? Think about it. Over to you, Bharti.
Sagar, here I would like to share two of the incidences that I am reminded of, and that was I've been observing and noticing many of my friends, even my spouse, they all have gone work from home right when the COVID started. And as you rightly mentioned, flexi hours, uh, because it's work from home, all they need to do is just open the laptop, log in, and they are there in their office and they work. What I observed, and when I interacted with all these professionals, what I realized that even though it is flexi hours, the time is set, that okay, at this particular time you need to log in and this particular time you need to log out. But because it is so fluid, or I would say the lucidness is so high because it's work from home, the dinner time has absolutely gone to zero. So at the same table, here the person is engaging himself into emails checking, or responding to some of the chats, office chats, or even picking up a call and listening to the conversation, and the person is having dinner right there. So I don't think, or I would say, gone are those days when we had this office and there was like half an hour of lunch break, and you actually literally step out of your cabin or step out of your work desk. You go to the canteen and you have your lunch, you have your dinner, you be with your colleagues, you just have some nice time, and then you come
Chit
back
chat.
after half an hour. That has gone. And also the tea break, or not even a break, even if you 5 minutes you get up from your seat to have water, those things have gone because it's work from home, so you're right there. And that has actually led to a lot of burnout to many of them, because they don't take that kind of breaks. They just are there gluing themselves to the seat for like 10 hours, 12 hours. And I would notice, I would observe, and I said, this is, if you're going to continue this for next 2 hours, sorry, 2 years, 3 years, you will develop a pattern. Because we humans, we are very inclined to develop a pattern which becomes our habit, and that becomes
We
very
are
quick
adaptable.
unknowingly. Yes, and it is very unknowingly happening with us. And as you rightly mentioned, 5 years, if you're focusing that, oh, for 5 years, I need to dedicate this and I really need to work hard. My dear friends, in those 5 years, the pattern will be so ingrained in you that even though you may want to consciously break it, it will be very difficult to break it, because that has set inside. You have already programmed your brain to work in that fashion, and then you will be slaved yourself with that programming. It will be very difficult to break it. So why to trap yourself into this kind of a programming where it's not going to help you, or it may help in the short gains, but the long run, it's really going to burn out completely. So why to do that? And the another incidents I remember is I wanted to have a conversation with one of the international speaker in Australia, and also wanted his time so that I can interview him. And so that's why I was sending him an email and asking for the time. I was surprised, I would say pleasantly surprised, when he said that, oh, at this particular day and time, I'm sorry, I'll be in a dinner meet with my spouse, enjoying my dinner with her, and that is scheduled in my calendar. So I cannot give you that date and time. And I was surprised. I said, for somebody who is a professional, and this is the opportunity, and he is looking forward to that opportunity where somebody from India has the opportunity for him, and he is also looking forward to that. He doesn't want to change the date and the time that he has given to his spouse for a dinner. I said, no, this remains for with her. This is for her. So let's look at other date and time. And I really had to look at my calendar. Now, if I call that, that incidence as integrated life approach, yes, because you are not only focusing on your work and blindly going by the work or the passion that you have, but you are also valuing the relationship that you have. You're also valuing the other elements of your life that you have. And you are really putting them, blending them together, as simply blending together as beautifully you bake a cake. Oh my, I'm back to the cake thing, but yes. The way you blend all the ingredients together is the same way you blend all the areas together. So these were the two incidences that really put me wonder that, are we really in the stage where we are realizing that we are leading a burnout life, or are we at a stage where we can stop getting into the trap of this pattern, getting into the trap of this ingrained pattern that we might have developed over these years? Yes, Sagar.
Brilliant. Well, all I can say is work life balance is a myth. Let's unlearn work life balance, look at integrated life. The baking of the cake example has gone so deep into my thing, that let's say if you want to balance everything, you can't. You actually have to integrate everything, because if I just keep weighing everything, and some elements change because it's a different season, some elements change because it's a different environment, it doesn't work. So work life balance is a myth, work life balance is a past, work life balance is something which we all need to unlearn. What we need to now focus on is the integrated life, and this integrated life that we're talking about, as we rightly said, is not something that we've just come across and it's like an eureka moment. No, it was there with all of us through our Vedas. Check out our Vedas. They had the integrated life, they had time for work, they even had time for war. After the sunset, the enemies would sit in the similar camp and eat. Now that is integrated life, and that's what we're talking about, that have an integrated life. Now while we're talking on burnout, let me give you a few things. A, look out for symptoms that you're having a burnout. We have already shared the symptoms. B, check out the link below and fill in the details and experience it for 1 week and explore how this sheet can help you. Two, seek out for help. Talk to your managers, talk to your employers, talk to your team members. If you are the manager and if you're observing a burnout in some person, observe, talk to them, find that out, and help them do that. So seek help, give help, manage your time, not by the clock, but by the elements of your life. Manage the time, because everyone has got 24 hours, and those 24 hours are to sleep, to enjoy, to have fun, to be with family, to work, and to do everything. You can't balance that. Okay, 5 hours for this and 5 hours for this. No, you can't. Just integrate them in your life. Give priorities. Like Bharti gave an example of a wonderful professional who wanted to come down to India, but then he said, no, this is a dinner date and I'll keep my date on. He's going to have dinner with his spouse every day, but that's a dinner date. That's special, that's an occasion. So answer these questions in this sheet. And last is, now that you're aware, now that you have accepted that you're burnt out, take action. Take action to save yourself from this burnout. Learn the art of saying no. That is going to definitely be one of the episodes which will come up, but you need to learn the art of saying no, where you don't offend the people, you don't disturb the system of the organization, but at the same time, keep your integrity and keep your time and keep your thing. Having said that, remember, if you are not burned out, somebody in your team, somebody in your colleague, somebody somewhere is burned out. All you need to do is share the link of this episode and help them. And last but not the least, we are always there to help you. So if there's no one who you can ask help with, Bharti and Sagar are just a click away, and we will be more than happy to help you if we can reduce your burnout. So this is from me signing off. Over to you, Bharti.
Yes, absolutely, Sagar. And I just want to beautifully end this with an analogy again back to the cake thing. So when you were sharing about this balance, work-life balance is a myth, and I wonder that if I have to balance the ingredients of a cake, I can't mix 200 grams of maida with 200 grams of butter and 200 grams of milk and then 200 grams of milkmaid and then 200 grams of castor sugar. I can't do that. I can't. I just can't. It will be a mess. But yes, what I can do is I can take proportion of flour with a small proportion of butter, with a small proportion of milkmaid, absolutely right elements and the right proportion that is required for the batter to bake. And that is what we need to understand. And then we blend it together, that will the baking will happen at the right temperature. Because if I start balancing everything, I'll be messing it up because I can't do that. So if you really want to, putting this analogy, if you really want to have a nice, yummy cake in your house, you need to look at the proportions of the elements that you are putting inside and blending them together. And that will give you the perfect cake. It's not about balancing, it's all about integrating them. It's all about blending them together beautifully so that you have that nice fulfillment life, happy life, and a life full of gratitude. And that's what the integrated life is all about. So, with
Yep.
this, we Sagar and Bharti, we both sign off for today's wonderful talk. And thank you so much for joining in this talk, this episode, which really helps you to avoid the stage of burnout. So look out for symptoms, look out for those kind of situations where you're facing this kind of challenge. If nothing goes, we are here. You can simply write us, you can simply message us, and you can approach us anytime. We will be right here listening to you. And with this, we say have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful, fantastic time with your loved ones. And we will see you back next Tuesday, 9 p.m., with another episode of the Integrated Life Show. Till then, thank you so much and good night.
Don't forget to check the link below. And Bharti, enjoy with your daughter and have fun because she's come all the way back on a holiday. So have fun and thank you very much. Bye bye, good night, and see you
Bye
next
bye.
Tuesday. Bye.